Thank you. And thank you for the kind words. I'll make sure I pass that along to my wife. And thank you to the ESC team for making this event happen. And welcome all of you to this wonderful facility. And thank you to the Metro Parks, Paul Pelagi, and the Lake Metro Parks Board for their continued partnership. We at the Lake County Educational Service Center are very grateful that you are here this morning. This morning we hope to continue to build relationships amongst the leadership in our region and county. Since it is customary to introduce dignitaries at such an exciting event, it would require me to introduce all of them. So, in the interest of time, I will make one introduction followed by a story of the Porter Science Program's evolution, ultimately why we are here today. In your folder, as was mentioned, Bill, in your folder, as we mentioned, there is a history of the Center. Early in the 1989 and 1997 tenure of Lake County Superintendent Dr. James H. Porter, the vision for the Porter Science Program began. This project started with Dr. Porter's leadership, along with at that time then Superintendent Dr. Bill Hiller, who was with us this morning, and then Lake Metro Parks Assistant Director Steve Madewell, and a host of other experts in the field of science and math, including school district leaders and former science chair at Wicklow Schools, Rich Benz, who is with us today. He currently works at the Metro Parks, assisting in program design and instruction. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Porter here this morning. Dr. Porter. During the course of its 21-year history, the Porter program averaged nearly 30,000 young visitors a year to learn about science and math, trained hundreds of teachers and administrators, and hosted dozens of events and evening learning activities. The center has had different homes during the years. For a long time, Auburn Career Center was the home, and about 7 years ago, the Lake Metro Parks approached the Lake County ESC about partnering to transform this building, the former Camp Klein site, to this wonderful science building. If you've never been here before, you really should take the opportunity to walk the grounds and to visit the rest of this building. We have secured our relationship with the Metro Parks to continue to use this space for teacher training and meetings for the Porter STEM Institute for years to come. Now the question is, why are we here today? We're here today about our region, our county, our schools, our institutions, our communities, our workforce, and our growth.
The challenge, how can you see something like that? How can it be presented to us in the way that he does in such an incredible manner? And how can we then just walk from it? We can't. And inherent also in what he's saying, the backdrop from it, is actually the current crisis. The current crisis that we have in ensuring that there is any innovation, that creativity is exactly what we're after, and that our children are seeing themselves as part of the solution and the advancement of our own species, of our societies, of our country, of our global markets, and so on. When you bring it down and you start to look at and you start to ask yourself, well, what can I do? What should we be doing? Where are things beyond the nature of the presentation? That's the important part. The important part is to now say, okay, so that exists, we all nodded our heads, now what? And that's the origin, basically, over the last 8 years of the mobilization in this country of STEM education. Why? Because the backdrop of the fact that creativity is an issue, that innovation is at risk, is the fact that our children have not taken the call. They have not seen science, technology, engineering, and math for themselves. And even in the best school districts and in the best higher education institutions throughout our country, students are not choosing to make this their life's work, regardless of where the entry point is. So let's take a step back and let's see what actually exists. Let's talk about STEM and let's deconstruct it so that STEM education is not for Lake County, for Northeast Ohio, or our nation, the top on the Chinese menu this month or this year. in education, what we're choosing to focus on, because it has far more ramifications than we have given light to. So STEM education, everybody starts by asking me, Jan, so what's the definition? What do you think this stuff is? And what we have decided to do is not to define it, because it is a good thing that everybody would contextualize science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education to their own set of variables, to your own communities, to your own children. But what we do know is that we care about technology and engineering informing science and mathematics. We care that there isn't a period after the S or the T or the E or the M, because it is a transdisciplinary operation. It means it's the way that nature offered us to study it, not the way we have disciplinarily created it in the Elliott Report, in the Harvard Committee of 10, in the 1890s. Do you know that that's where biochem and physics came about? And do you know that our brethren in the Western world all around us don't teach biochem and physics? They teach science, or they teach biochem or biotechnology or that. We also know that we're talking about college readiness and post-secondary success. This is, as you mentioned, Brian, this is a PK 16 or even 20 endeavor. And we know we've got some problems in this.